Welcome! In front of me I have the newly released Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra, and I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device, its specifications and also its price tag. So, let's get straight into this. This is taking a bit of space right here on the table. Come on, Samsung, just fix this shit. Literally takes away from like opening up this device. Jesus. Okay, fine. Thanks for nothing. Jesus, you have one job. Cool. Okay. Now in here we have the absolute unit of a tablet. If you can even call that a tablet, this is more like a monitor at this point. It is 14.5 inches of screen. So, getting this out. We have the absolute unit of a device. So I'm gonna boot it up and set it to the side. Actually turn on, come on. Any moment, there we go. So, the other device out of the way. There we go. Now inside here we have our pencil. I do want to point the pencil out. Really nice design right here. It literally mimics an actual pencil. In terms of weight, I feel like it's about the same kind of weight as an actual pencil, and obviously the shape. The only difference is it does have a button and it's made out of plastic instead of wood. But it does feel really nice in hand, so props for that design. Pretty good. Now below here we have our Type-C to Type-C cable, and I do want to take out the Type-C because you can see there is a bit of it, so it's not a super short cable, which is pretty good. And obviously paperwork, which I'm not going to take out. Yoink that or yeet that out of the way. Oh wow, we almost got rid of the notch. Nice. So starting with the display, as this is wow, this is one heck of a display right here. We are looking at a 14.6 inches of screen real estate. It is a 1848 pixel by 2960 resolution. And let me just find the language first. It's a Dynamic AMOLED display, 120 Hz refresh rate. And let's find polling first. There we go. And I need to restart it. Fantastic. Great design. AMOLED display, 120 Hz refresh rate, HDR10+, and a peak brightness of 1600 nits. It also boasts a 90.8% screen to body ratio, pixel density of 239 pixels per inch, with a MOSH level 5 glass. And that's about it for the display. Now for the people that... Ooh, hello? Come on, camera, please. Right here, there you go. Now for the people that don't know what I just told you, to explain the display right here, it's a good display. Not the best, but it's good. It's a AMOLED, which means that it's going to have these pitch black levels where pixels are basically turned off. We have 120 Hz refresh rate, so that's pretty good. HDR10+ certified, so that's also good. The brightness is, for a tablet, good. For an actual like outdoor usage, it might be on a lower end at 1600 nits compared to, for instance, like the S25 Ultra phones, which I believe has like 3000 nits. So basically double of what this device offers. So for outdoor usage might not be the best case, but if you're planning to use this as a monitor, which I think you can, this would actually be pretty good. Alright, I can't skip it. Oh no, I can. Yay! Thank you, Samsung. I can now actually do the bare minimum of skipping connecting to Wi-Fi. Fantastic. So, so the display right here is pretty good, but like I mentioned, not the best. And the reason why I'm saying it's not the best is because it's lacking, for instance, certification like the Dolby Vision for Dolby Vision content to be watched on here. And the brightness is a little bit on a lower end if you're planning to use this on outside. Now, I want to also point out one more thing, the bezels right here. If I bring up this one. So, the S11, which is not the Ultra, has much more garbage bezels, as you can see. These are basically twice as thick on a device that is supposed to be the same generation. Samsung, what the fuck are we doing right here? Why is your S11 feeling like it's like a last generation product compared to the Ultra? There's not supposed to be this much difference. It's a different size. Why the hell are the bezels basically half the size? We're almost looking at 10% difference in screen to body ratio. We're looking at differences or percentages on this device similar to what you were getting 6 years ago. What is the This is like not very acceptable, I would say, for naming your devices the same and offering shittier product. They're supposed to be the same product with a difference of a size and just minuscule differences. But those minuscule differences that you would expect from a size that they claim to basically be constrained by size, I mean, absolutely F all, when, for instance, in here they include also 45 watts of pitiful charging speed on a 14.5-inch display. Are you constrained here by anything? Because this is the size of a freaking laptop that can charge at 120 watts. What are we doing? So, anyway, let's just continue on with that little bit of a rant right here. And I did want to just point out the same tablet, the same generation of the tablet, just not the Ultra. How much it varies from this. There's supposed to only be differences in terms of size, but as you can clearly see, there isn't. They look like completely different generational products. So, with that out of the way, moving on into the internals, we have 11,600 mAh battery that can be charged at a pathetic 45 watts for the size of this. Now, for Samsung, 45 watts is as fast as they can go apparently, even though devices nowadays can pop up like 120 watts charging. Phones that are like this big. You know, if a phone that is, well, about 6.8 inches usually can charge at 120 watts, I see no reason why a tablet that is 14.6 inches big can't do that either. You're not thermally size constrained at all. So, the only thing that is obviously constraining them is, I guess, their costs. So, by doing that, they would need to make less money. So if you don't know what it is about, it's always about money. That's usually what it boils down to. And with that out of the way, let's move over to the another part, which is the Dimensity 9400 Plus processor in here. Which typically Snapdragon 8 Elite would be more expensive to put in here. I don't know exactly how well they compare between each other, so I couldn't find the info basically for it that I could consider reliable while waiting for recording this. So as far as I can tell, they're about the same. So at this point, if the Dimensity 9400 Plus is better than the 8 Elite, that would be pretty nice as an implementation right here. But when I was looking at it, it kind of varied depending on what kind of benchmarks they were doing and what kind of websites. So I can't really give a reliable information if this is better or worse than Dimensity or than the Snapdragon. So anyway, so we have the Dimensity, which is traditionally a cheaper processor. We have 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage at a base entry, but you can get it up to 1 terabyte with 16 gigs of RAM. And we also have expandable storage right here, surprisingly enough. So that is pretty good. So you can pop in another like terabyte of storage right here, and you're good to go with whatever needs you have for storage. So additionally, we can also talk about the cameras. So right here in this weird little half notch, we have a 12 megapixel 2.4 aperture 120 degree ultra wide lens that does 4K at 30 and 1080p at 30. Then if we flip it over to the back, we have dual camera setup right here. We have a 13 megapixel 2.0 aperture, 26mm wide lens, and then 8 megapixel 2.2 aperture ultra wide. And just like before, they do 4K 30 and 1080p 30, which is a bit of a disappointment considering how much this device costs. I would like to see 60 frames would be freaking nice on here. Now I am gonna actually check it because GSM Arena sometimes gets this information wrong, which is where I'm getting this info from. So let's open up the camera. Let's go into the settings, and we're looking at video, advanced video options, 360 audio, nothing here. Let's switch to video. Nope. Well, even at 720p, you're limited to 30 frames. Are you freaking kidding me here, Samsung? What is this? It's 2025. What are you doing? Okay, wow, that is a bit of a disappointment. Now, I know you're not going to be recording videos with this, like creative ones, but even for streaming or anything like that, it would be nice if you could have a 60 frames per second of like footage for selfie or whatever you're going to be doing. It's going to look a little bit weird considering that the content here can run at 120 and then your camera that you can add while recording screen, for instance, would be only doing 30. It's a bit of a mismatch from one from another. So 60 would have been the good option here, but for some reason apparently this device isn't powerful enough to do 60. Awesome. Anyway, so last thing to mention is the price, and holy hell is that price high. It's $13,500. Wow, yikes. Now, that is a steep price, but I also want to point out that this is basically well in its right a computer on its own, though might not be as good as specific, like in terms of performance, as an actual dedicated laptop. I'm gonna specifically point out like gaming laptops, as these do have insane amount of power in its right? So if you just need to do general work, not gaming, you won't really see much of a difference in terms of actual raw performance between these devices. Both can output more than you will ever need. In terms of gaming, on the other hand side, for this amount of money you would get a laptop with a dedicated graphics card, and that can obviously increase the level of fidelity performance that you get in gaming. Now, the reason I'm pointing that out is because another use for these devices, specifically this humongous ones, is to use them as a secondary display. If I remember correctly, they do have some kind of way to be used as a monitor through a Type-C port, which as a feature, it's a fantastic way of basically having a secondary display for instance, your laptop or your computer. So that in itself actually does make up a decent cost of such a tablet or screen. If you were ever to look for a portable, battery-powered, Type-C, 120 Hz AMOLED display with stupid brightness for a monitor, I should add, and HDR10 Plus support, that also very good looking as a kind of modern with small bezels, you're going to be looking at a pretty penny. So just a monitor alone would actually make up a decent chunk of such a price. So I do want to point this out, but if you're just looking for a big tablet to be used on its own, just as a tablet, you're kind of giving away some of the functionality of this device, and you're overpaying for that functionality that you would never actually be using. So I do want to point that out to be completely transparent with this. But all that being said, if you're going to be using this, this is a basically probably going to save you money if you are looking to buy a powerful tablet and also get a portable monitor. I think you would be especially this good. So you'd probably be spending more money than you are on just this one device. And obviously in terms of portability, it also makes it a little bit easier if you were looking to transport your laptop, tablet, and monitor to just laptop and this. So there are some benefits to this. And lastly, talking about it, it's running Android 16, which is the newest Android right now, with One UI 8. So it does have this kind of weird look, almost ripping off Apple with the glass. Sorry, glass look, and I personally don't really like it. On the phone itself, it also has blur effect, but because that is taking literally the entire screen, it's not as prominent. As you can see, it doesn't look this weird. So here, having this kind of look, it does feel a bit odd. Don't know if I really like it. It's obviously part of the One UI 8, along with a bunch of other features that Samsung offers with their One UI. So that's one of the better benefits of Samsung, considering you're giving up some other things for the price. At least the one thing that you definitely get is a solid skin for Android that has a decent amount of its own standalone features. So there we go. That about sums it up. So if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.